Anyone who can predict your reaction can influence your next move. They do not need to overpower you, understand every detail of your history, or openly command you. They only need to discover which emotional door opens automatically. A certain tone makes you defensive. Silence makes you anxious. Criticism makes you explain yourself. Rejection makes you chase. Urgency makes you abandon your judgment. Praise makes you lower your guard. Once your reactions become predictable, your behavior becomes easier to direct. A message appears on your phone, and before you have understood what it means, your body has already answered. Your chest tightens. Your breathing changes. Your mind begins searching through old memories for evidence of what might be wrong. Someone writes, "We need to talk." 4 ordinary words appear on a glowing screen, but your nervous system does not experience them as ordinary. It enters a courtroom, assembled from unfinished conversations, forgotten mistakes, imagined accusations, and memories of being abandoned. This is how much of human life is lived. An event occurs, the mind assigns meaning to it, the body treats that meaning as reality. Behavior follows before awareness has entered the room. A friend fails to reply, and you decide they no longer care. Someone looks away while you are speaking, and you decide you have been dismissed. A colleague questions your work, and you decide your intelligence is being attacked. A person you love becomes quiet, and you decide they are preparing to leave. Within seconds, a fragment becomes a story. The story becomes an emotion. The emotion becomes an action. The action changes the relationship, and the changed relationship appears to confirm the story you created at the beginning. This happens so quickly that it feels like fate, but it is not fate. It is a pattern moving faster than consciousness. This is why learning not to react is about more than staying calm. The modern world profits from reaction. Advertising provokes inadequacy and then sells relief. Online platforms provoke outrage and convert attention into value. Manipulative people create confusion and offer obedience as the path back to safety. Messages built around fear succeed because frightened people rarely pause long enough to ask who benefits from their fear. Yet hidden within every provocation is a narrow threshold that most people cross without noticing. It is the space between what happens and what you become in response to it. Someone insults you. Heat rises through your body. An answer begins forming. Pride reaches for a weapon it has used 1,000 times. But before that weapon is raised, there is a moment. But once you become aware of that threshold, something extraordinary begins. The world does not immediately become kinder. Difficult people do not disappear. The past is not erased. Uncertainty does not bow before you. You do not become emotionless, invulnerable, or detached from life. What changes first is quieter and far more powerful. The world loses its automatic access to your inner state. Imagine a lake beneath a moonlit sky. The water is still, and the moon rests perfectly upon its surface. Then a stone falls. Ripples spread outward. The reflection shatters into 100 trembling fragments. If you looked only at the water, you might believe the moon had been destroyed. But nothing has happened to the moon. Only the surface reflecting it has been disturbed. Your awareness is like that moon. Events are the stones. Your emotional system is the water. For much of your life, you may have tried to repair the shattered reflection by controlling everything around you. You tried to make people behave correctly so you would not feel disturbed. You rehearsed arguments so you would never feel powerless. You sought approval so doubt would remain silent. You avoided conversations, risks, and relationships because they created ripples you did not know how to survive. But peace cannot be created by commanding every stone not to fall. You cannot build freedom by demanding that no one misunderstand you, no plan disappoint you, no relationship challenge you, and no uncertainty enter your life. A world capable of guaranteeing those conditions has never existed. Freedom begins when you realize that disturbance is not destruction. An emotion may move through you without becoming your identity. A thought may enter your mind without becoming a command. A harsh word may hurt without becoming your self-image. Fear may speak without being permitted to write the future. This is not passivity, it is authority. Throughout this journey, you will see why manipulators depend less on strength than on predictability. You will understand how attention feeds the realities it repeatedly enters, why suppression is not freedom, and how a single conscious pause can alter the direction of a relationship, a decision, or an entire life. The method is simple enough to remember. Pause, separate, and choose. 3 movements that appear easy until the world touches the exact wound you believed you had already healed. Because the true test does not arrive when you are alone in silence. It arrives when the message appears, when the accusation is spoken, when someone returns with the same behavior that once pulled you into confusion, and when your body recognizes an old battlefield and prepares to become the old soldier. That is where the world begins to change. Not when nothing disturbs you, but when disturbance arrives and discovers that it can no longer automatically decide who you become. The stone will still fall, the water will still tremble, but for the first time, you may remember that you are not the ripple. To stop reacting does not mean becoming silent, passive, or emotionally numb. It does not mean tolerating disrespect while pretending to be spiritually advanced. It does not mean smiling while resentment grows beneath the surface, refusing to defend yourself, or allowing destructive behavior to continue without consequence. Non-reaction is not the absence of action, it is the absence of unconscious action. A reaction is immediate. A response has passed through awareness. The difference may last only a few seconds, but those seconds contain the distance between repetition and freedom. Consider what happens when someone sends you a short message that appears cold. The external event may consist of only a few words, but the mind does not receive those words in isolation. It compares them with past conversations, changes in tone, previous rejection, unresolved fear, and every moment in which silence once meant danger. The message belongs to the present, but the meaning may come from history. This reveals the first principle. You rarely react to an event alone. You react to the meaning your mind assigns to it. The external world provides a fragment, and the mind completes the picture. A delayed reply becomes rejection. A disagreement becomes disrespect. A mistake becomes humiliation. A closed door becomes evidence that every door will close. An uncertain future becomes a disaster that has already happened. The interpretation feels factual because it arrives quickly. It does not announce itself by saying, "This is one possible explanation." It enters wearing the clothes of certainty. They are ignoring me. They are trying to embarrass me. They never respected me. This will fail. I will be abandoned. But certainty is not always truth. Sometimes it is a familiar fear, speaking without opposition. This is one way your inner state shapes the world around you. Not through a simplistic promise that every thought magically becomes reality, but through a continuous exchange between perception, posture, tone, timing, decision, and consequence. The internal becomes external through behavior. The external returns as confirmation. The loop repeats until it feels like destiny. The question is not whether danger, betrayal, and rejection ever occur. They do. The question is whether your perception can distinguish what is happening now from what happened before. What are you noticing because it is true, and what appears true because you have been trained to notice it? That question creates an opening. Through that opening, awareness enters. Awareness does not immediately remove the emotion. At first, it simply allows you to witness what is happening. You notice your jaw tightening. You feel heat rising through your chest. You hear the hostile reply being prepared before it reaches your tongue. You recognize your mind constructing an entire courtroom from a single sentence. Instead of declaring, "They are humiliating me," you become capable of saying, "I am experiencing the fear of humiliation." Instead of saying, "I am angry," you notice, "Anger is moving through me." Instead of saying, "I am a failure," you recognize, "I am feeling shame because something I created did not produce the result I wanted." This change in language is not cosmetic. "I am angry" fuses identity with emotion. "Anger is moving through me" creates distance between the observer and the experience. The storm remains, but you are no longer confusing the storm with the entire sky. Suppression says, "I must not feel this." Awareness says, "I can feel this," without becoming its instrument. Suppression hides emotion from the outside while preserving its control on the inside. Awareness listens to the emotion, examines its message, and decides whether its demand deserves obedience. Emotion is a messenger. It is not a monarch. Anger may be telling you that a boundary has been crossed. Fear may be telling you that something requires examination. Sadness may be revealing what mattered. Envy may be exposing a desire you have been afraid to admit. The messenger should be heard, but it does not automatically receive the throne. This leads to the three movements of conscious response. First, pause. Interrupt momentum before momentum becomes action. You do not need to become perfectly calm. You only need to delay obedience. Take one breath. Wait 10 seconds. Walk around the room. Decide not to send the message yet. The pause is not emptiness. It is where awareness catches up with the body. Second, separate. Distinguish the event from your interpretation, the present from the past, and the emotion from your identity. What actually happened? What meaning did you add? What belongs to this moment? What has been carried here from another relationship, another humiliation, or another loss? What do you know, and what are you predicting? Separation does not deny intuition. It prevents fear from disguising itself as certainty. Third, choose. Ask what response protects your values rather than merely protecting your pride. Do you need to speak? Do you need more information? Do you need to establish a boundary? Do you need to leave? Do you need to admit that part of the criticism is accurate? Do you need to remain silent because silence is wisdom, or speak because silence would become self-betrayal? Conscious response does not always look gentle. Sometimes the correct response is firm. Sometimes it ends a conversation. Sometimes it closes a door. Sometimes it removes access from someone who has repeatedly mistaken your patience for permission. The difference is that the action emerges from clarity rather than emotional velocity. This makes you more difficult to control. Anyone can provoke a predictable person. A manipulator studies the same emotional doors repeatedly: pride, guilt, urgency, loneliness, fear of exclusion, and the need to be understood. Flattery opens one door, silence opens another, a threat opens a third. When you do not know your own entrances, other people can enter your inner world without permission. Awareness changes the locks, but beneath every reaction is often an attempted protection. Anger may be protecting vulnerability. Perfectionism may be protecting the fear of judgment. Constant explanation may be protecting the terror of being misunderstood. Chasing may be protecting the fear that distance always becomes abandonment. Years later, a present event touches an ancient wound, and the past rises, wearing the face of the person standing before you. This is why transformation cannot be achieved by repeatedly ordering yourself to calm down. You must become curious about what the reaction believes it is protecting. When you meet the pattern with curiosity instead of shame, it begins revealing its origin. You realize that it was created for survival, but survival strategies do not always know when danger has ended. A shield carried through a battlefield may save your life. Carried everywhere afterward, it prevents you from embracing anyone. The goal is not to destroy the shield. The goal is to recognize when you are no longer at war. The world begins changing when your old reaction no longer arrives on command. Certain arguments lose their structure. Certain manipulations become visible. Certain people become confused because the emotional button they once pressed now produces a question, a boundary, or silence instead of the familiar explosion. At that point, the relationship must change. It must meet the person you are becoming, or reveal that it depended upon the person you used to be. There was once a king who ruled a prosperous city surrounded by high stone walls. From childhood, he had been taught that strength meant answering every insult, defeating every challenger, and proving his authority before doubt could spread. Whenever a messenger arrived with bad news, the king shouted. Whenever an advisor questioned his judgment, he treated disagreement as betrayal. Whenever a neighboring ruler sent a provocative letter, soldiers were ordered toward the border before the ink had dried. The people called him powerful because the entire kingdom moved whenever his emotions moved. But beyond the city gates lived an old keeper who had watched generations of rulers rise and collapse. The gatekeeper understood something the king did not. A man who can be provoked can also be directed. An enemy does not always need to defeat such a man. It only needs to discover what makes him abandon his position. One winter, a rival kingdom began sending small insults across the border. First came a mocking letter, then a damaged banner was left outside the city. Then a rumor spread through the markets that the king had become afraid. Each act was too small to justify war, but each was designed to touch the same hidden wound. The king responded exactly as expected. He emptied part of the treasury, gathered his army, and marched into the mountains to defend his pride against an enemy that refused to appear. While his soldiers chased shadows through the snow, the rival kingdom quietly seized the trade routes behind them. When the king returned months later, his markets were empty. Food had become scarce. Merchants had abandoned the city. The walls were still standing, but the kingdom had been weakened from within. The city was not defeated by superior force. It was defeated by the predictability of its ruler. The king confronted the old gatekeeper and demanded to know why no one had warned him. The gatekeeper answered, "They did, but every warning that did not agree with your anger sounded like betrayal. This is not only a story about an ancient ruler, it is the architecture of reaction. Your attention is the treasury. Your energy is the army. Your values are the walls. Your long-term direction is the trade route that must remain protected. Every time a provocation causes you to abandon what matters and rush toward what is loudest, part of your inner kingdom is left unguarded. You may win the argument and lose the relationship. You may protect your pride and destroy an opportunity. You may answer an insult and spend the next 3 days carrying the person who insulted you inside your nervous system. You may punish someone with silence while imprisoning yourself within the same silence. The force provoking you does not always want your defeat. Sometimes it only wants your direction. This is why urgency is powerful. It prevents you from asking what you are leaving unprotected while rushing to answer what has been placed in front of you. The message says, "Respond now." The advertisement says, "Buy now." The manipulator says, "Decide now." The crowd says, "Be outraged now." But anything demanding that you surrender reflection should be examined carefully. A person who controls your timing often controls the quality of your decision. The king believed immediate action demonstrated power. In reality, his inability to pause made him governable. Now imagine another kingdom, one hidden inside a hall of mirrors. You enter the hall at midnight. Every mirror reflects a different version of you. In one, you are angry and rehearsing what should have been said. In another, you are frightened and predicting abandonment. In another, you are successful but still trying to prove your worth to someone who is no longer present. In another, you stand beside an old failure, insisting that it must define every future attempt. Then, you notice a door at the far end of the hall. The door does not appear when the mirrors become perfect. It appears when you stop arguing with them. You begin walking. One reflection reminds you of every failure, but you continue. Another predicts rejection, but you continue. Another demands revenge, but you continue. This is the symbolic heart of conscious response. You do not need every internal voice to become silent before you move. You do not need confidence to eliminate uncertainty before taking action. You do not need the wound to disappear before refusing to repeat its pattern. You only need to recognize that a reflection can be seen without becoming a destination. Beyond the door is not a perfect world. People remain complicated. Loss remains possible. Injustice still exists. There are real betrayals, real systems that exploit vulnerability, and real moments when strength is necessary. Consciousness is not the belief that every threat is imaginary. It is the ability to distinguish the threat in front of you from the shadow behind your eyes. But a reaction repeated long enough becomes a pattern. A pattern defended long enough becomes an identity. An identity projected long enough becomes a world. This is why the world changes when you stop reacting to it. Not because reality magically bends to every thought, but because you stop supplying the same emotional cause and expecting a different consequence. You stop chasing people who use distance to control you. You stop explaining yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you. You stop treating criticism as execution. You stop treating uncertainty as prophecy. You stop abandoning your position each time someone throws an insult beyond the walls. The kingdom becomes quieter, not because no messenger brings bad news, but because the throne is no longer occupied by whoever arrives carrying the strongest emotion. The king within you begins to listen before commanding the army. The treasury is protected. The trade routes remain open. The mirrors continue reflecting, but the door remains visible. The same stone may fall into the lake, but now the disturbance enters a different inner system. The reflection trembles. The moon remains whole. The true test of awareness does not occur when you are alone, your eyes are closed, and no one is challenging you. It occurs when the message arrives, when criticism is spoken, when a plan collapses, or when someone touches the exact wound you thought you had already healed. It is easy to feel peaceful when nothing is disturbing you. The practice begins when disturbance arrives and expects to find the same person waiting. Begin with the first moments of the day. Many people wake and immediately reach for their phones. Before their minds have fully returned to the room, they encounter unanswered messages, bad news, other people's achievements, arguments between strangers, advertisements, demands, and images engineered to capture attention. Before their feet touch the floor, their inner weather has been shaped by forces that do not know their name. A frightened mind begins the day searching for danger. A resentful mind hears disrespect in neutral words. A hurried mind discovers emergencies everywhere. The first practical change is simple. Stop giving the world access to you before you have entered yourself. Before reading messages, sit for 1 quiet minute. Feel the weight of your body. Notice your breathing. Ask, what state am I carrying into this day? You are not trying to manufacture happiness. You are learning to recognize the lens through which the day will be interpreted. Then the day begins. A colleague sends a message that sounds dismissive. Heat rises. Your fingers Move toward the keyboard. Pause. Do not answer yet. The body may interpret delay as weakness because the old pattern believes immediate defense is necessary. But 10 minutes of awareness may produce more intelligence than 10 seconds of emotional speed. Separate. Read the message again without the imaginary tone you attach to it. What is actually written? What meaning did you add? Is the message objectively disrespectful, merely brief, or incomplete? Are you reacting to this colleague or to every person who previously made you feel insignificant? Do you need more information? Then choose. Perhaps the response is, I want to make sure I understand what you mean. Perhaps it is, I am open to feedback, but I would prefer that we discuss it without personal remarks. Perhaps no response is necessary. Perhaps the message reveals a repeated pattern requiring a stronger boundary. Non-reaction is not one particular behavior. It is the ability to select behavior rather than being dragged into it. Now consider an intimate relationship. Someone close to you becomes distant. You ask what is wrong, and they answer, nothing. Your mind begins searching for explanations. You remember recent mistakes. You examine their expression. You become cold to protect yourself from their coldness. They sense your withdrawal and retreat further. Soon, two people are defending themselves against meanings neither has spoken aloud. Pause. Do not punish uncertainty with an accusation. Separate. What do you know? You sense distance. What are you assuming? That the distance must mean rejection, anger, betrayal, or abandonment. What belongs to this relationship? What belongs to an older experience in which silence did mean danger? Then choose. You might say, I sense some distance between us, and I do not want to invent a story about it. Do you need space, or would it help to talk? This creates room for an answer that is not centered on your fear. Reduced reactivity prevents imagination from impersonating communication, but communication does not solve every pattern. Some people depend upon your reaction. They provoke you and then use your emotional response to shift attention away from their behavior. They create urgency, demand immediate answers, alternate closeness and withdrawal, or repeatedly misunderstand you until you exhaust yourself trying to prove your intentions. When you stop reacting as expected, their behavior may intensify. This is important. Peace does not always make a relationship peaceful. Sometimes your clarity reveals that the relationship was organized around your confusion. A person who benefited from your lack of boundaries may call your boundary cruel. Someone who depended on your guilt may accuse you of becoming selfish. Someone who controlled you through silence may become more distant when chasing no longer works. Their discomfort is not proof that your boundary is wrong. A boundary is not measured by how happily another person accepts it. It clarifies what you will participate in, what you will leave, and what access to you requires. Pause. Do not immediately repair discomfort you did not create. Separate. Are you feeling guilt because you harmed someone or because you disappointed someone who expected unlimited access? Those are not the same thing. Then choose. You may say, I will discuss this when we can speak without insults. If the insults continue, leave the conversation. Without action, A boundary becomes a request, repeated into emptiness. This practice also changes your relationship with failure. Suppose you invest months in a project and almost no one notices it. The reactive mind converts an event into an identity. It failed becomes, I am a failure. Then the present becomes the future. Nothing I create will ever matter. Pause. Do not build a permanent identity from a temporary result. Separate. What failed? Was it the idea, the timing, the execution, the presentation, the audience, the consistency, or the assumption beneath the project? What can be measured? What remains unknown? What did the experience teach you that success might have hidden? Then choose. Change the title. Improve the opening. Test a different format. Study the audience. End the project if the evidence requires it, but do not allow shame to make the decision before information has been examined. Reaction seeks a verdict. Awareness seeks information. The same principle applies to money. Many harmful financial decisions are attempts to escape an immediate emotional state. Fear causes people to abandon long-term plans. Envy encourages unnecessary spending. Shame prevents someone from examining debt. Urgency makes questionable opportunities appear unique. Anything demanding that you surrender reflection deserves careful examination. Would the decision still feel wise after sleep? Would it appear necessary without the fear of missing out? Are you buying the object or buying temporary relief from inadequacy? Are you investing from understanding or reacting to the anxiety of watching others move? The world often profits from your inability to pause. The pause interrupts extraction. This does not mean becoming indifferent to accountability. If you caused harm, acknowledge it. If you made a mistake, repair it. If criticism contains truth, use it. Non-reaction is not a method for protecting the ego from consequences. It is what allows you to face consequences without collapsing into defense or shame. But awareness should not become another prison. You are not expected to monitor every thought with suspicion. You will still react sometimes. You will send a message too quickly. You will raise your voice. The old guard will occasionally reach the gate before consciousness arrives. When that happens, do not turn the mistake into another identity. Return. Repair what can be repaired. Name what occurred without excuse. Study the precise moment when choice disappeared. Was it the tone, the feeling of being ignored, the fear of losing status, the need to be right? Every reaction can become instruction when examined without self-deception. Over time, the practice changes your character. At first, the pause requires deliberate effort. Then, it becomes familiar. Eventually, it becomes part of who meets the world. The traffic is still crowded, but it no longer steals the entire morning. Criticism still hurts, but it does not become a prophecy. Silence still creates uncertainty, but you no longer immediately fill it with fear. The same circumstances produce a different life because they are no longer entering the same inner system. Your attention changes, your speech changes, your timing changes, the people you tolerate change. The risks you can face change. Your repeated choices begin producing different consequences, and those consequences slowly assemble a different world around you. One pause does not transform a life, but a pause, practiced repeatedly, becomes a way of meeting reality. A way of meeting reality becomes character. Character becomes direction. Direction, given enough time, becomes destiny. There will come a moment, perhaps sooner than you expect, when the world tests everything you have heard here. It will not announce itself as a spiritual test. There will be no sacred music, no perfect silence, and no visible doorway between your old life and the person you are becoming. It may arrive as a careless sentence, a delayed reply, a criticism spoken in front of others, a plan that suddenly collapses, or a person returning with the same behavior that once pulled you into confusion. Your body will recognize the pattern before your mind does. The heat will rise. The familiar story will begin assembling itself. The old version of you will reach for the response it has practiced 1,000 times. Pause. Not because you feel nothing, but because feeling is not the same as obeying. Not because the situation does not matter, but because it matters too much to surrender it to an unconscious reflex. Not because you are trying to appear calm, but because you are no longer willing to let another person, another memory, or another passing emotion choose the direction of your life. The pause may last only one breath, yet within that breath, the kingdom is protected. The army does not abandon its position. The treasury is not emptied to defend pride. The door at the end of the hall of mirrors becomes visible. Separate. Ask what is actually happening. Ask what belongs to the present and what has been carried here from the past. Ask what you know and what you are predicting. Ask whether the response forming within you protects your values or merely protects your image. Then choose. Choose the honest conversation instead of the imaginary argument. Choose the boundary instead of the explosion. Choose distance instead of revenge. Choose information instead of a verdict. Choose action instead of endless worry. Choose silence when silence is wisdom, and speak when silence would become self-betrayal. This is how transformation enters a human life, not always as one magnificent revelation, but as a different choice made at the exact point where an old reaction expected to survive. The deeper freedom is not the creation of a life in which nothing disturbs you. It is the discovery of something within you that disturbance cannot automatically command. You can grieve without turning grief into hopelessness. You can feel anger without converting it into destruction. You can experience fear without allowing fear to write the future before you arrive there. The emotion remains real. The prison does not. Slowly, the question governing your life begins to change. Instead of asking, "How do I make the world stop affecting me?" you begin asking, "Who do I choose to become in the presence of what is happening?" That question returns your power without requiring you to deny reality. Every experience arrives carrying two possibilities. It can become another command from the past, or it can become material for a more conscious future. Nothing supernatural needs to occur. You are simply no longer creating tomorrow from the same automatic movements that created yesterday. You begin to understand that much of what you called the world was the world combined with your rehearsed interpretation of it. Remove the automatic interpretation, and reality becomes wider. There are more possible meanings, more possible responses, and more exits from the old room. An emotion can deliver a letter without becoming the ruler of the kingdom. Your greatest power is not the ability to control what enters your life. It is the ability to decide what receives authority after it enters. A harsh word may enter, but it does not have to become your self-image. A failure may enter, but it does not have to become your future. Another person's judgment may enter, but it does not have to become the voice through which you speak to yourself. You are the threshold. You decide what passes through as information, what requires action, what must be released, and what no longer deserves a room within you. For the next 24 hours, do not try to become perfectly calm. Choose one reaction, one pattern that has repeatedly taken control of your speech, your relationships, or your decisions. When it appears, practice the 3 movements: pause, separate, and choose. Even if you succeed only once, notice what changes. Notice how much power was hidden inside one breath. Notice what does not happen because the old reaction was not obeyed. The message you do not send, the argument you do not enlarge, the purchase you do not make, the boundary you finally honor, the story you stop treating as fact. Then return to the comments and name the reaction you are no longer willing to let govern your life. Not to perform transformation, but to declare where awareness has begun. The goal is not to react less so that the world will reward you. The goal is to become so conscious that reward and punishment no longer determine your character. That is where inner authority begins. The stone will still fall, the surface will still tremble. For a moment, the moon may appear broken across the water, but now you know where to look, not at the fragments, not at the ripples, not at the distorted reflection trying to convince you that everything has been destroyed. Look upward. Remember what was whole all along. And when the world next attempts to choose your state for you, let that remembrance become your response. Because the world changes when you stop reacting to it. But the first world that changes is the one within you.